Bag, let's start the fucking show, eh?
This is the sound of grooving bass.
The world will remember this day. This is a matter of life and death. But I can perform this miracle. Chances are near zero. Near zero. What do you want from theory alone? Zero would be nice.
3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome everybody to this action-packed episode of the No Name Podcast. I'm really excited to be here tonight with my good friend Wasted. We have two very special guests tonight. Things got interesting this past week, and we had to change everything up. And I would like to introduce first my co-host Wasted. How are you, Wasted?
Fine.
Yeah, there's the beer. I love it. Now, there's been some rumblings on the Discord sites and some rumblings on our former site that we all went to, and then everywhere else. People are talking about the return of none other than Mr. Bill Brasky. He's here with us tonight. How are you, Mr. Brasky?
I'm fucking peachy. Thanks for asking.
What have you been up to in this hiatus, and what is coming up?
Well, I've been saying my prayers, taking my vitamins, living in the wonderful inflation end times that we're in. And I guess what's coming up is, when I popped my head back in and I saw you and Wasted and Frans, and I was like, we had a Fatcast going there for a long time, and we abruptly ended, or technically I abruptly put it on hiatus. And talk to you gentlemen and see what your thoughts were, and you guys were interested in possibly coming back and doing a show. I figured the Fatcast had its time, had its day. I never named the show the Fatcast. It was named by another individual. And figured the fat's gone out of GNR, and there's enough fat in the world that we need to bring any more fat into it. So I thought maybe once or twice monthly, we could do another show together. Also it'd be hosted and presented by me with my dear friends, and my co-host will once again be Wasted and GNR Liars amongst their dozens and dozens of podcasts and the content these fuckers are putting out for you, the listening audience. Which, Jesus Christ, these guys are putting out so much content for you guys. I mean, you better be like sending them tips, or I don't know, cookies in the mail or something or another. But coming sometime, I'm thinking in September, once I get a little more set up, back in the Boston area, once I get a little more set up with things and I get a microphone going, we're going to debut a new show called Shit Radio. It's going to be in the same vein as the Fatcast, a little bit different, not too much, but I'm excited to make that announcement. I hope there's an audience. If there's not, we'll just amuse ourselves. But that was kind of the announcement on my end. I know that you guys have a bunch of other shit going on. I also want to compliment you and Wasted for his Wasted show, and you for your Cookout podcast. Even though whatever dumb motherfucker said he was funnier than Bernie Mac is clearly an ignorant son of a bitch, and I hope he hears this and knows that. Sir, I don't know what the fuck pipe you were smoking there, but I mean, come on, really? Bernie Mac?
He's a special guy, Robbie. So, very exciting news. The Fatcast has returned, but with a new name called Shit Radio. It's going to be with myself, co-hosting with Wasted, and of course, it's going to be Brasky's show. We're going to be co-hosting with him up there on the show. So, very excited to be taking part of that. I'm really excited to be getting back together with these two guys. I do have another guest tonight. I'm going to get to in one sec. But yeah, I miss when the Fatcast ended. I was upset and I missed it, and there was a void. And I'm not going to lie, there was a void that was missing, and I really enjoyed recording every Saturday night like we did, and to even get back to any level of that is going to be super fun, and I'm really excited to be doing this, and I'm so happy that you're back too, Brasky. Things were
Well, it's not your guest, and I'm not trying to spoil who your guest is. I'm just going to say that the other guest that's on this evening, I hope to be a constant guest, fill-in co-host, whatever, when one of you guys can't make it. It's definitely something that was a huge part of the Fatcast, and definitely be part of the new show. So I'm not spoiling who your guest is. And when you said fill the void, we're not talking about Void Locos. We're talking just about, getting together and cracking jokes and all other shit. But I know you guys have been working on a bunch of podcasts. I encourage everyone to give it a listen to.
Thank you.
And just to make it clear to the audience here, GNR Liners, Wasted, and the other person who will be joining, I guess, here shortly, even though he's already in the call, had no responsibility in the Fatcast Sunday. It's something that life got really hectic and stressful for me, and I just couldn't fit the Fatcast into my schedule at that point. So I just want to make that clear that any blame or any shit like that does fall on me, not the other gentleman. So that's the announcement. And if anyone has any questions, any comments or concerns, I mean, thoughts, opinions, throw them out there.
Awesome. Well, Wasted, do you want to add anything before?
No, I think we're all looking forward to doing the return of the Fatcast or the shit radio.
And without further ado, the night wouldn't be complete if our good friend Frans wasn't here. So welcome, Frans. It's really good to have you here too.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
What's up?
how you
It's
been?
been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, before
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Go ahead,
Before I punch,
Brasky.
not to interrupt fans, but before I punch out, and obviously now you guys know who I was talking about. It's Frans. The only thing I can promise you about shit radio, it'll be shittier than the Fatcast. And on that note, gentlemen, I wish you all a good night. Have a great show together, and I will catch up with all you guys again soon. Peace.
Perfect. See you, Brasky.
Okay, Brasky, good to hear you again, man. See you later.
See you, boys.
All right, there you have it. The return of Brasky, the return of Frans. New show coming up, Shit Radio. It's going to be great. All of us are going to be involved. Me and Wasted are still going to be working on our show, and lots more to come. Lots and lots of content. Wasted has his own show. I have my own show, and Frans is always in the background doing something. He's always close. So, in the background, Frans, what have you been doing? How you been?
Yeah, I've been good, man. I've been working on this website, which
What's it called?
It's called GNF and R, as in the pirate kind
Pirates.
of. Yeah, and it was harder than I thought, man, because you had to work on mobile and stuff, and it's there's lots of great website builders you can use, but they want you to host with them, which is something I didn't want to because I wanted to host overseas. So I had to build it myself, and I'm still busy with it. But it's a lot of work. Obviously, also I just released Rock in Rio second night, so I'm still remastering stuff, and also going to shows because GNR's touring. So I've been to 2 shows now, and
Which shows
working.
did you go to?
I went to a German show and one in my own country in Netherlands, so Frankfurt and Weert.
How were they?
And well, I have to say it's really an interesting lag because Axel looks pretty fucking slim. I mean, he's really fit and he seems to enjoy himself a lot. He talks a lot during the shows, and obviously they changed the set list a bit. And Bad Obsession is a great addition. Also pretty tied up, of course. But especially Bad Obsession. I can't believe they didn't play it before because it suits Axel's lower voice very good. And
Now, from what I saw, I know Glastonbury is the one that gets talked about a lot because if I'm not mistaken, it was broadcast on the BBC, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people are talking about it, and this for us who've been fans of the band for decades now, and have been following this tour since the reunion happened, and even going back to when it was New Guns. You know, Axl sounding like shit is really nothing new to us, and there's been many times, I'm guilty of it too, where we would all make fun of, you know, the band, and we would take snippets and listen to them, and where he sounded like Mickey or Herbert from Family Guy or whomever you want to chalk it up to, right? But you know what I'm finding different about this tour, and maybe it's just the way music is right now, and how it's so choreographed, and how it's so lip synced, and how it's so everything is done so perfectly for the shows, right? And it's more of a spectacle and a light show and a stage show than it is actually about the music. The thing that I like about the Guns N' Roses tour that they just started over in Europe was, yeah, Axl sounds like, he doesn't sound the best. He sounds like a 60-year-old man, but I don't care anymore that he sounds like shit, if that makes sense, because there's not many rock shows left. And they're putting on an old-fashioned, straight-up rock show. Like there was a clip I saw on Twitter or one of the social media sites where, you know, there was a girl in the audience flashing him her tits, right? And there's Axl on stage, gives her the thumbs up or a wink, whatever he did, right? Like, you just don't see that anymore, you know. And it's a throwback to a time when I was younger, obviously, and when I was going to a lot of concerts. And you know, I've been to many Guns N' Roses shows, and you know, it's the age-old explanation, whatever, that you don't notice it when you're on the show. You don't notice how shitty he sounds, because you're so immersed in everything that's going on. You're so immersed in this rock show. You're so immersed in this crowd that is so into seeing these guys play and watching these guys. Like, they're true professionals. They've been doing it for so long that they've reached. They're at the pinnacle. They're at the top. They're at the summit, and you know, they know what they're doing, and they make the show enjoyable. And you know, I don't care as much anymore for him sounding like shit, or even Slash noodling. Slash is a hardcore noodler now, and I don't care, because I want the experience. I want the show. What do you guys think?
Well, actually,
well, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Fran.
No, go ahead.
No, there is a sort of mixture of like the fans are also singing along. Plus,
Yep.
like you said, it's rock. So I've been to see lots of shows where, you know, I've been to see Bob Dylan when he was on the Never Ending Tour, when he was just mumbling through. But it's rock. It's just about the authenticity more than the actual. It doesn't have to be like a singing. It's like the spirit. Like the punk rock spirit of just Axl being up on stage, and they're basically all living legends. So you're sort of going to see the living legends, plus, like you said, the light show.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, not the light show, the actual videos. Like when you watch a YouTube video, you can't see the videos, but I think that if you're like ground level, those videos are there, so the whole thing kind of works. But I mean, I've seen YouTube videos of Lana Del Rey. Have you seen any of her shows? The
I have
audience,
not. No.
She doesn't even always sing. The audience, the crowd is singing her lyrics,
Right.
singing the songs for her, and she doesn't even try to sing that much. So there's something a bit like, it's almost like going to a GNR convention now. You know,
Yeah,
you
fair
feel
enough.
you're like co-creating with the band, like the show, and you know they're still there. So it's kind of like a celebration of Guns N' Roses rather than like the peak of their live shows, which was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
So if you remember that, you basically can almost, you're basically kind of
Reliving it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brent?
For me, it's just like, you know, going there, meeting friends, the road trip, the after parties, the pre-parties, and you know, I mean, it's still Guns N' Roses, and I mean, he sounds like shit for like 2 decades, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
These people call themselves journalists. Well, they didn't invest in the band because they are all coming out now saying that. But I agree, man. It's just, and it's also still a 3-hour rock show. I mean, where do you see that? And Axl is like really this leg. He's really enjoying himself, but he's also working fucking hard, you know. And indeed, the video is great. They put a lot of time in it. It's still sad that they display the fireworks and it's not real fireworks. But all in all, I think it's still, yeah, for me, it's still enjoyable, you know. And again, you know, there are some songs that they should definitely drop. I mean, they played better at a show I was, you know, that's just a horrible sounding song. But all in all, you know, and this, like, especially with the new songs, and they also dropped every cover, or at least covers like Wichita Lineman, or you know, this other bullshit. And
You know,
so yeah, that's a good thing, man, for me.
backing up there, you said the light show, the fireworks, they're not real fireworks, huh?
No, man, they I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they dropped it. I don't know why, but they used to have it when Another's Lifetime started for maybe 2 or 3 years, but then they dropped it, and they have now like some sort of fireworks on the screens behind them.
That's another thing I wanted to touch on too, and Wasted said it too, is when you're on the YouTube clips or whatever shorts, even the ones officially put out by the band, you don't see, that's an important part of their show, is that background screen. And it's so cliche rock and roll. It's got the skulls, it's got the girls, it's got the motorcycles, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's part of immersing yourself in what Guns N' Roses show is in 2022. You don't see that anymore. It just doesn't happen. Like, sure, it might, like maybe Motley Crue and whatever tour they're on with, I think they're with Def Leppard and Poison. Maybe it happens there. I haven't seen it, but it's not to the grandeur of what Guns N' Roses would put on, because I think Guns N' Roses is bigger than those three bands. Even Aerosmith. I've seen Aerosmith recently, and even they have something of a show playing on the screen, but it's nothing like what Guns N' Roses did. You were going to say something there, Wasted.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Guns N' Roses are like known to be like the greatest touring band of all time. As in, the Usual Illusion tour, the show they put on is bigger than a Rolling Stones show at their peak, or any other band, because Axl was so moving around. Like in '91, when they came on at Wembley, you know, in '91, it's probably on YouTube, they played Perfect Crime. Axl was like in like 5 different places on the stage at like once, it seemed. You know, that whole tour was like, they were either amazing or they were like rioting. So yeah, I think they're well known. I mean, Axl's the greatest frontman. Freddie Mercury's a better singer, but Axl moves more. You know what I mean?
And
Axl
I
has
always
all those
refer,
moves.
I always go back to, and this is going back some time, but still, it's still relevant. When on the Steel Wheels tour for the Rolling Stones, when they brought out Axl and Izzy, this is Mick Jagger, almost in his prime. I mean, he's getting a little bit older in 1990, but he's still, he's still a relatively young man at this time. And Axl and Izzy come out and they sing "Salt of the Earth," and not only is Axl's vocal spot on, almost like he sounds like they're coming out of a studio, as are Mick's, obviously, but his charisma and his stage presence, it's hard to blow Mick Jagger off the stage, but I could say with almost certainty that he did that day.
But obviously his vocals are just better than Mick Jagger's, the range. Like,
Well,
Axl's up there
yeah,
with
absolutely.
Slash and yeah.
It's
But he also runs like in Double Talk and Jive and the Usual Illusion tours and all that running.
Yeah.
And high kicks and spins, and Jagger moves around a bit, but it's more like clapping and spinning and
Yeah, it's too bad that he doesn't do the classic jump anymore, during You Could Be Mine, which is also a song that sounds pretty horrible, I have to say. But yeah, obviously they have to play it because of it's a well-known song. But he used to always do this jump, or even in Ritz where he broke his leg. And,
I think that's what you're doing, is that people are kind of comparing it to the 90s now. So it's like what Axl did in the studio with You Could Be Mine, some of those songs, and the Chinese Democracy. It's almost like too hard to play it live. I think Axl talked about it, or Brian Johnson from AC/DC talked about Back in Black. Like he made this like perfect record, but all those vocals are really hard to recreate live. He does it, but it's really tough. And Axl had one song, You Could Be Mine. It's like he did it in the studio and then afterwards regretted it because he knew he was going to have to keep on doing it. So
Yeah,
they
but
set themselves up.
yeah, but I have to say this leg, I noticed that he's also running again quite much, man. And yeah, he looks very slim. He obviously he's well trained and he's prepared and yeah, he's having fun, and that's a really good thing to see for me.
Yeah. And
But
bad obsession.
yeah, that's great, man.
He's very quick on his feet. Bad obsession. But he's just very good at working the stage. Like that's what I mean. He's like a really great frontman because he knows when to speed up and then and when to go towards the crowd, and he just moves around a lot. So, but he seems a little bit more like quick on his feet. He's like speed walking.
Yeah, also, but the fact that they're
running.
still selling out, or year after year after year, yeah, that says enough. There's still people that want to see him. Although I have to say, yeah, it's probably going to be my last tour because I'm going to 2 shows in USA, and then I'm on 20 shows, and then I think I've seen it. I mean, I can't believe that they will come back soon, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I gave up on going to stadium shows after Rolling Stones. Like standing outside in the pissing rain for like 3 hours, and then when I got in, the bar was shut. In one of these like hockey arenas, and then the Rolling Stones are like backstage, like shagging groupies, and you're just like drenched, and then it takes you like 3 hours to get home, and the show is just like just the same Rolling Stone show you've seen a million times before. But at least if Guns N' Roses came to Asia, not Asia, but like where I live, I'd go. But unless they release a new album, I'm not going to take a flight to Japan. See them or something like that. But
I will drive to Edmonton if they're here. They probably won't come to Calgary. No, most shows don't. I will drive to Edmonton, which is a 3-hour drive north, or 2.5. You can do it. I will go again to see them. I don't think I can pass up. I think I might take my kids too.
Yeah, you should, man. They're just still a classic band, and yeah, I still respect them for what they did in the 90s, and I've been criticizing them a lot too, but I still go, and I just love the tunes. It's just the classic tunes I love, man. And Slash is just, for me, it's just animal.
Slash is Slash, man. He's iconic. He's an icon. He's a rock god in every sense of the word, right? And again, it goes back to my original comment. There's not many anymore. Like when you sure you have the savants and of that's not the right word, but like Eddie Van Halen was, and Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and Buckethead and those guys, right? And no disrespect to them, obviously, but when it comes to like rock icons and guitar gods, like everybody thinks of Slash, and rightfully so, I would say.
He's the guitar hero. He's the guitar hero of the 90s, isn't he? He's kind of in the lineage of May and Joe Perry, then it's Slash.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Eric Clapton.
Yeah, but he's getting old, right? And
yeah,
he had his time. I guess what I'm getting at is that Slash is probably the one people that think of now, and who's after him, like who's coming after him, right?
Yeah, he's really rock and roll, like Eric Clapton is a more serious guy, for me. I'm totally right, man.
Oh well, it's just fun, and it's they're gonna be go ahead, Wasted.
Oh no, you said you went to the show. Did you go to that show where at the end of Knocking on Heaven's Door, Axl saw that those letters FU?
Yes, I was there. Yeah, Frankfurt. Yeah, that was that show. Yeah, because there were people on the stages, because it was in a stadium from Frankfurt, and on those stadiums there are letters, and on the side there was these letters that were blocked. There were people sitting, and he could only see the FU. So he made a comment about that. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, he said FU. He said, if I ever do get to heaven, I think those are the words I'm going to see.
Yeah,
he said,
exactly.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's another point about going to see Guns N' Roses, is that you don't know what's going to happen. It's not all about the music. Axl might do a rant, something else might happen.
Yeah, but like I said, like I said, I've been to every, not in this lifetime tour, there is, every year. And, this year he was really talkative, much more than the other the legs. Also in Weert, where we were, because they were staying in Germany. And so he made a mistake. He thought he was in Germany, and also Duff said "Dankeschön" after his song, you know. And but he made a comment about he opened "Welcome to the Jungle" with saying like, "So I don't know where the fuck I am, but you know where the fuck you are,"
Yeah,
you know, and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
And earlier on in the tour, during Heaven's Door, you know, there's a UFO that comes down. Like as that UFO was coming down behind him on the big screen, he said, "I smell donuts." Does anybody else smell donuts? Yeah, he said that, but people didn't seem to pick up on it. I thought there'd be a whole thread about "I smell donuts."
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah.
that's the best thing you said. Then I don't think soon is a word.
But you know, I have to say, man, the
Like,
fat
the
jokes
album
are
style.
last time because he looks so slim now. It's just amazing how fit he looks. It's just crazy, man. It's just insane.
Do you think it's Ozempic?
What?
You think it's that drug, that new
Frans probably
pill,
doesn't even know what
Ozempic?
Ozempic is.
No, I
Really?
don't know. No.
I
No.
thought everybody knows. It's a kind of like a diabetes drug which stops you eating that all the Hollywood
Okay.
mad people are taking. Like Rosie O'Donnell is on it.
It's like speed.
And it's not. No, it's not
No.
a diet pill like that. It kind of messes with your blood sugar level, so it tricks you into thinking that you're not hungry ever.
Yeah.
So you're basically just starving, and the side effects are unknown or something.
Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah, like Wasted said, it was developed as a type 2 diabetes drug, and they found that a lot of users were experiencing significant weight loss with it as well. I know here in Canada, it just exploded on the scene, and doctors have been prescribing it nonstop to the point where benefit providers through your employers or whatnot are refusing to fill to cover prescriptions unless they get a form filled out by the doctor stating that they're using this for prevention of type 2 diabetes as opposed to simply just weight loss, because it's also very expensive.
Okay.
It's very expensive to prescribe. I know here in Canada, it's a monthly dose, whatever, you get it filled monthly, and it costs here about $250 to $300 a month. And
Okay.
the insurance companies don't want to pay that. And if I'm correct in what I've been reading, it's even more expensive in the United States.
Maybe he just installed a Appetite for Weight Loss gastric band, man. You know, from the merch shop.
Remember that? That was
Yeah.
fun. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. What were you going to say,
Probably.
Wasted?
It's just the Hollywood celebrities, like $250 is nothing.
True.
They're basically
$250 is
using it
nothing to them, but the guy that's working
Yeah.
in the factory that sits on his ass all day at his station stamping die cuts or whatever, that's
Yeah.
350 pounds. $250 a month is significant, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be thin. He should be fat and beating off.
Should he though? You know,
That's his job.
I don't know, man. If he's uncomfortable or she's uncomfortable, mind
Yeah.
you, I think we've evolved to a state where we're so fucking lazy now that nobody wants to exercise anymore to actually lose weight and make choices that are healthier for yourself. I mean, if you're going down the path where you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes, which is the fat diabetes, you know, your answer to your problem shouldn't come in the form of an injection. Your answer to your problem should come in changes to your diet and your exercise levels. It's not that hard.
It's
just
the
do
whole
some-
like public health issue, isn't it?
It's a huge public health issue because,
Or the media,
you know,
the
I don't.
media and the doctors they prescribe pills. They don't tell you about. They don't give you public health advice. If you ask them, they say we don't know about that stuff. That's for your psychiatrist or something, or your psychologist. You know,
Sure.
they sort of say that's a mental problem. They just prescribe. They say what's wrong with you and prescribe like some kind of medication if you want it. Just the way the public health, system kind of works at the moment. But I mean, if you work in a cubicle all day at a computer, you know, you can't eat. I've worked in those type of jobs. You can't eat food. You have to like drink only coffee. You know.
Yeah,
You can't
unfortunately,
sit in
people.
a veal fattening pen all day just eating Cheetos.
Well, that's the
Doesn't
thing,
work.
right? And even people are so uneducated in the world of health. I don't know how it is over in Europe, friends, but over here, people will bring, like, for example, they'll bring a container full of trail mix, which is mixed nuts and some raisins thrown in there. But they'll have like a 3-cup container filled, but they're saying to themselves that they're eating healthy because it's mixed nuts and it's raisins and that's all healthy
Yeah.
for you. Yes,
But
that
then
is
don't eat
healthy
the
for
fucking
you
bunch
in
of them.
moderation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because in the end, that sometimes they say, usually fat people they say they claim, my thyroid is working too slow or too fast, or my bones are too heavy, or no, every pound goes through the mouth.
Yeah.
It's like the same as in USA. People eat a lot of fat shit, and then they think they can compensate by drinking Diet Coke, but then liters of it. I mean, it's plain
Yeah.
stupid.
And
Yeah, you can't eat pasta salad if you're like in a cubicle.
yeah,
You know, at lunchtime. You have to drink coffee or do speed.
Yeah, or do
Probably
both.
the better idea. At
Or
the
both.
weekend, you just have to do a pile of drugs.
Well, actually, I went from a very active job to a lot of more sitting, and I got fat as well. I'm actually way fatter than Axel right now. So, yeah.
Me too.
I'm in peak physical condition.
That's excellent. What is peak physical condition for wasted?
Like 120 kilos, 6'1", basically just fat.
120 kilos is what, 240 pounds?
Fat. Probably 230.
Yeah, somewhere around there is 2.2, right? So
I can't even remember when I weighed it myself, man. It must be like a decade ago, at least. I don't even have a scale.
I weighed myself. I went for a physical the other day at the doctor's, and they weighed me, and let me tell you, it was not good.
But
I'm not going to tell you how much
went
I
on,
weighed,
like,
but
keto. If I go on keto or some kind of just don't eat at all, I go down to 110. But you want to like kill everybody. You
Uh-huh.
get like a shotgun.
But it's also
we're about
what
the
about
same
what
weight
you
there, Wasted. I'm looking at 120 kilograms. We're roughly the same weight.
Yeah, I think I'm just like normal for being fat.
Well, I myself, I don't eat that much variated, or how you say it, and that's also caused you to go fatter. Like the kids in Africa all eat rice all day. They have fat tummies, but yeah, basically just because of this, not variations in food.
Well, that's malnutrition. The when their belly is all descended like that, right? That's from malnutrition.
Yeah, which means
mine is
like
just all
same
beer.
food. Yeah, beer
Huh?
But I basically only drink beer and eat crisps. If I stopped drinking, I'd be in perfect health.
Yeah, but you'd be bored as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to Wasted about this on the last episode, that it's been like, what did I say, Wasted? A year and a half where I'm like completely sober. It's fucked,
yeah.
man. I don't know. It's weird.
You're sober? Why?
I gave up everything, man. I stopped drinking and I.
But why?
Well, I don't know. I just did. I didn't like waking up with a hangover around my kids anymore.
I understand, but you
they're
can drink a
very
few beers in the
hyper.
weekend, right?
No, I haven't had an alcohol drink in like a year and a half.
Okay. Well, I'm not a heavy drinker, but I want to drink a beer every now and then, because it's also
I hear you.
nice.
I find one beer is annoying though.
So
like,
as do I.
Beer, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
It's like the same when you have a party, at somebody's house, and sometimes it occurs that the beer is gone or it's gone. People will leave immediately. It's so stupid.
Immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. The party's over. Yeah, it's so stupid. But yeah, I agree with wasted. I can't drink only one beer. That's not good. You need more.
Well,
Like if you give
I
me a
think
beer,
that's the thing,
I just
right? Is
down
that
it.
I would have a beer, and then I would drink another one, and then I would drink another one, and then maybe I was chugging beers by myself in the corner so no one would see. I don't know. I don't even know if that statement is true. It's not, but you know what I mean. It's just I just decided to take a break, and I've never gone back to it. Plus, my wife doesn't drink, right? So she never what's that?
I think if you're an alcoholic, you need it to like function, and you need it to do. You can't like get through the day without having a drink, kind of thing.
I saw a documentary.
Alcoholics,
Go ahead.
no, they're just most alcoholics. Some of them have to like drink. They have the bottle of whiskey by the bed, and they have to get up. They have to drink it.
So I saw a documentary on this, and it was about different stages of alcoholism. So they had the college, I think it was a college girl, and she would binge drink on the weekend and get blackout drunk. They had the next level, which was, I think, just your regular guy who would sit in garage and drink with his buddies, or in the alleyway or whatever with his buddies. And then they had the severe alcoholic guy where he needed alcohol to function. And yeah, he had a job at it was like a big box store, like maybe Home Depot or something. And he was going out to his vehicle on his shift to sling back King cans. He would take 2 of them because he was shaking so badly that his body actually needed the alcohol, and if he didn't get his fix, he would start to shut down. And he had to check himself into the hospital a few times, and all the hospital nurses knew him, and they didn't really like him because he was the typical alcoholic. Oh, I'm gonna get clean now. I'm gonna get clean now. And they would check him in, and they would go through the program, and as soon as he got out, he would just go right back to the alcohol. But that it was sad because I don't know if that's his fault, right? His body actually needed that alcohol to function properly. It had gotten so bad. Like, I imagine that guy from the documentary is dead now because he was on his way to drinking himself to death, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
you have to you need a doctor if you're going to do it properly. You might die with alcohol withdrawal.
Yeah.
If you're like actually an alcoholic. But then once you've actually survived that part, then you need to like not drink.
Have you? Do you guys recognize the feeling that back in the day, or maybe every day you have it still wasted? That when you have a hangover, you needed to work. You went to the concert, you went out late, and you're like you wake up and you have such a terrible hangover, and you go to your job, and you think you're at your job, and you think, man, I'll never drink again. And then at 10 o'clock, you think, another beer would be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 5 levels of drinking, 6 if you live in a trailer park.
And they are. Let's hear them.
No, it's an old joke by Dennis Miller, I think.
Oh.
Your first level, you're in a bar drinking on your own, and then your buddies come in, and you say, "Oh, I'll just stay for one more." It's a very long joke, so probably best if you just look it up on YouTube. It's a classic joke. He ends up over the border in Mexico drinking a thick blue liquor, usually used to clean combs.
But that's also a difference, man, between drinking beers or just slamming like whiskey and heavy liquor. I've never been into that.
Is it Dennis Miller or Dennis Leary?
It's Miller. So it might not be Dennis Miller. There's another Miller.
It's also a beer brand, Miller.
Yeah, Miller High Life, champagne and beers.
But yeah, it's definitely somebody Miller, but not that Dennis Miller, the one with the beard, or Dennis Leary. It's somebody Miller. But yeah, it's a classic. Just like they just keep. And then he gets up in the morning to go to work, and he says, You know, I've had 1 hour's sleep. You know, I don't mind going to that board meeting looking like Keith Richards. If I have one more beer, I'll be cool.
Wow.
And somewhere in the middle there, they all get up and go, "We're driving to Mexico." This all started from just like having one beer after work.
But you know, if it's fucking really hot day, you know, and you worked all day and you drink a cold beer, man, it's great, and you can just leave it at one. I think that's
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need
one
to be
or-
an alcoholist to drink a few beers in the weekend. I
Oh,
mean,
two stubbies or two of those cans, 330 milliliters. That's the safe limit for like liver damage. So you can have two of those every day.
So
You know, like
Health Canada, it's interesting you say that, Wasted, because that was the thought for years now, wasn't it? That 2 drinks a day was okay, and depending on what alcohol you were drinking, might even have some small health benefits to it. I mean, that's what everybody thought for years, for decades.
yeah, a glass of wine.
A glass of
Always,
wine, exactly. So now I
For the
don't
blood.
know. Health Canada, I don't know about them anymore. They're obviously very aligned with Trudeau, and so I don't know how much I trust them anymore. But they've come out recently and said that 0 alcohol intake is what is recommended now. They recommend no alcohol for anybody at any time, because
I've seen
even
that.
1 drink a day is going to have a negative impact on your health. I don't know if I believe that.
I remember going around to my girlfriend's house, and she was like sort of Catholic, but her mum was really Catholic. And every time I went to the kitchen, she would like sort of pop her head up and go, "Pride comes before the fall," or something like that. And I was like in their house, and I picked up this pamphlet and it was about alcoholism or something. And it was like a Catholic pamphlet, and it said, if you drink more than once a week and more than 1 drink, you're an alcoholic.
My mother used to believe that. My mother never drank, ever. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say ever. I think I have seen her drink a few times in my life. But she was like that. She was like, no, 1 drink, just 1 drink is too much, and you don't have any alcohol. And I was like, wow, what
Yeah,
happened?
her mum used to say something like, "I'd rather have my son come home dead than drunk." Meanwhile, the whole family were like raging alcoholics.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but yeah, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't do drugs, you shouldn't smoke. I mean, you know, yeah, just give up your life and be a slave of the system and don't have fun at all.
And that's why I mentioned Health Canada being so aligned with Trudeau, that I don't know if I believe it, because some of Trudeau's how can I put this nicely? Some of Trudeau's practices lately have been very questionable, right? So I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the old saying: if you're upper class, drinking is allowed, but if you're lower class, you're an alcoholic.
Well, yeah.
And even in the church, they serve wine, right? I mean,
They do. You're right. They have
how do you
in the
call it?
Catholic Church, yeah, you go up and get, when you're getting the, I forget what it's called now, but it's the blood of Christ and the body of Christ, right? So
Yeah,
you go up, I forget what it's called. It's been so long, but you get the sip of wine and you get the little wafer there, right? Like, yeah, but it's okay when you do it with them, right? I guess it's also okay when you molest boys when you're in the Catholic Church too, but that's another conversation for another day.
Well, that brings us to Sinead O'Conner, actually, tearing up the photo,
It really does.
right?
That's a
Tearing
nice
up the-
segue. Yeah, that is a nice segue. You guys obviously heard that Sinead O'Conner died like 2 days ago, right?
Definitely, yeah.
What were your thoughts on Sinead O'Conner? I'd like to hear what you thought.
For me, well, honestly, I know her from this one song, and I think she's just a lunatic with a great voice. And
okay.
she tore up this photo of the Pope, you know,
The Pope.
and basically she did that for because she also was a victim of child abuse, and the church, how it's involved with children rape and still.
Yeah.
But then,
So sorry.
she turns himself to the Islam because she was a Muslim,
Yeah.
and they are known
That's
from
not
honor killings, child marriage, women circumcising. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're 100% right. That whole tearing up of the picture of the Pope, that was on Saturday Night Live that she did that, and there's some quotes coming out now from some of the cast members that were on the show that week or that season, and Rob Schneider in particular, he was a cast member of Saturday Night Live, and he had no idea that she had done that because he was in a lot of skits that week. So he was as soon as he came off of the stage, he was right back into a wardrobe and makeup to prepare for his next skit. So he didn't see what she did, and he didn't hear what she did as well. And he went out with her after the show, and there was a lot of negativity surrounding her, I guess, and he didn't know. And he had some very kind things to say about her, and it's just the fact that he didn't know what she had done and the impact that it had was very interesting. But it's funny because it got such pushback way back then about abuse in the Catholic Church. She did a show at Madison Square Garden. I think it was 2 nights later. And she basically got booed off the stage.
Yeah,
and
I know.
These are people that bought tickets to go see her show. They booed her off stage, and it absolutely interesting because it was it revealed that she was right. Like they were diddling boys and diddling altar boys, and she knew, and nobody believed her. And she was proven that she was right years, like about a decade later. It was proven that she was right. So. And then, of course, what you said, Frans, the whole the Islam, converting to Islam, very suspect. But she led a tragic life, and her son committed suicide last year. And I don't think, which is weird to say that she never got over it, because I think she has 4 children.
Yeah, exactly.
And her one son, who was 17, committed suicide. I believe it was just over a year ago, and I don't think she ever got over it. And
she also was on Twitter. She was like being very negative of saying that suicide is never the solution, which might be true. But I suspect that is it already known how she died?
No, I don't think the cause of death has been revealed yet. It might be chalked up to an accidental overdose. I don't want to speculate because I don't know.
No, exactly. But
she did say that she was living as a sort of undead nocturnal person for a long
she looked
time.
like. Did you see how she looked lately, man, with all the tattoos in her neck and really fucking horrible.
Yeah, she looked like a sort of butch dyke lesbian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Whereas when she first came on the scene, she shaved her head, and that was a statement as well. That's when
Sinead O'Conner.
She was, she was going to be trouble because she had a bad relationship with the record company. They wanted her to do be a commercial pop singer, hence the power ballad. She turned Prince's song, is much more softer version than the Prince version. They turned it into a power ballad for her to sing on. But yeah, they wanted her to be a sort of model-looking girl, but she shaved her head. But if you look at her face, she's very
pretty
and beautiful.
Yeah.
But she sort of self-sabotaged herself to make a point, and that's where and then everything. I only follow the scandals. I never bought any of the albums. And even the Prince thing, where Prince is, wanted to. Prince wasn't happy with her. I think that was to do with his relationship with his record company, as in he thought the record company were messing with his song, by allowing her to use it and then turn it into a power ballad, and then and she was behaving badly in the press, like swearing and stuff. So Prince was quite puritanical in stages, wasn't he, in his career? So you know all of that, about that, where she had like altercation with him when she went to meet him.
I know something of the sorts. Well, because just for clarification purposes, Nothing Compares to You, her song that everybody knows her for, that was written by Prince.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's that he wrote it, but it was written not on a Prince album, on an album called The Family or something, and it's a much softer version. It's a bit like Bob Dylan's "Knocking on Heaven's Door" to Guns N' Roses turned into like more of a powerful song. She turned it into a power ballad, and I think Prince is like angry about that.
I think she's just an attention whore with a lunatic background, and
like you said, she was abused, but she was abused by her mother, physically and sexually. And I read that her mother had a torture chamber in the basement, type of thing. That's Sinead
that's
O'Conner
when
said.
that's how you grow up, become twisted,
Yeah, absolutely.
Abuse leads to that type of thing.
Now, I think I have a little bit of a different opinion. I think she was. I was preparing to do a review of her album, with Nothing Compares to You on it. I believe it's called I Still Want What I Don't Have. I listened to that album in its entirety for the first time in probably 20 years, when I heard when I heard of her passing this week. And it's a beautiful album. She strikes me as a woman who is, and I'm sure you guys have met people like this in your life, so you can probably relate. When you just have people who are just pure, they're artists, and they act like artists, and they're a little flaky, and they're a little withdrawn, and they're they're very much introverted into themselves, but they have this awesome talent, and in her case it was her voice. And I'll next episode I'll be more prepared and I'll have it ready, but that album is from start to finish is very well produced. Her music is very well composed, very well. She sings, her voice is almost angelic, and she uses it very well on that album. And I'll go through it next episode for sure, and we'll talk about it more. But I was sad when she. I don't know if I was surprised when I heard that she died.
I was shocked.
Were you?
Because she's 56.
Yeah.
Like, she's not 78 or 70 or something, but 56. And she doesn't seem like a weak person. Like all the things that she's done, she seems quite feisty. Like she doesn't really, even with Prince, he was like, telling him to fuck off. I mean, it seemed like he was trying to rape her, because he used to have like loads of like prodigies, like Sheena Easton, that song, Prince's song, You Got the Look. He had a stable of these, like, he liked to train up these girl singers, and she was the next one. But she didn't want to do that, She didn't want to like fall in line.
He also had this Dutch saxophone player, Candy Dulfer. He also used to say, "When I want sex, I call Candy." She called Candy Dulfer. That was also one of his little mistresses.
Yeah, I mean, if you look into Prince's like Paisley Park, all the antics going on there, he had some crazy stuff, like glass tables and stuff. I've forgotten some of the stories, but yeah, he was like a non-stop orgy. I mean, that's why I call him the porn dwarf.
What Hazy Park? What's that? Oh, that's his residence in.
Yeah, it's kind of like his Memphis, isn't it? Or
where is it, France? What's it called?
Memphis, Paisley Park.
Paisley Park.
Yeah, all kinds of. It's like his Neverland or Elvis's Graceland. He had his own kind of Prince land basically going on, and it's all just orgies and drugs and music, like 24 hours a day.
Like this island. What's it called again? This island from this guy?
Epstein Island.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's basically a similar type of thing. If you get your own like compound or island, or you've got your own like ranch, you're probably like I mean, why are you doing that?
It's in, of all places, Minneapolis. Of all
Minneapolis,
places.
that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's right.
But
It
he's
was his home where, and didn't he have this incredible fear of elevators?
He's very, very eccentric. Like
Yeah.
if you read about him, I mean, almost everywhere he went, he was at, was that Live Aid or some group? There was some kind of group, you know, even performing with other stars. He gets he had a feud with Michael Jackson, I think, and James Brown. I remember that, something like that. So yeah, he's quite tough. And he was fighting, the thing is, he's fighting with the record company all the time.
Yeah,
about, you know, that changed his name into a symbol.
that's right. That was all for the record company.
Yeah, and he doesn't like compromise in any way. Like when he changes styles, you know what I mean? He just like does something completely different under the Prince name or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. There's a similarity between Sinead O'Conner and him in that same kind of eccentric. They're artists first.
He was also like a midget, right? He was fucking short. Isn't that true?
He was very short. Yes.
He's basically He's basically like a Little Richard, like another version of Little Richard. Tutti Frutti.
L.A. Reid was the guy's name. He brought up. I'm sorry. L.A. Reid is the guy's name. He brought up elevators with Prince in the conversation once, and Prince looked at him and said, "You know what the elevator is, right?" And then of course L.A. Reid says, "No. What's the elevator?" And he said, "The elevator is the devil." So he would not get in elevators because he thought that's where the devil lived. Crazy.
I mean, he had huge, like, I mean, he didn't really know about, he was on synthetic opioids, wasn't he? That's basically what killed him.
Yeah.
Something like fentanyl or something. But he also went through like a Christian phase and a totally like puritanical, like not doing drugs stage. And whatever stage he was in, he completely like believes in that and then switches. So I think what Sinead O'Conner was doing was very insulting to him. So he was very angry about it. So when she went there, he was like bullying her. Like the butler made her drink soup, and it got physical, as in he challenged her to a pillow fight, but he put like a hard object in the pillow and was hitting her with it.
Wow. He actually he died in an elevator. That's where when they went to his home, they found him alone and unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park studio compound on April 21st, 2016. Really? Crazy.
Loving an elevator.
Yeah. I think he's another guy, a bit like Michael Jackson. He shouldn't have. They take those drugs because of the touring schedules, I think, to kill the pain. So that
Tom Petty.
Play every night. Yeah, but really, he should have stopped touring.
David Bowie. I think they don't want to die, man. They just took these drugs and there was like fentanyl in it and they didn't know. I guess that's the story, right? Because he didn't seem to want to be dead.
David Bowie was sick though, was he not? He had cancer.
Yeah. I don't think
George Michael. I mean,
what's crazy about David Bowie is that, I hope I'm remembering this correctly. What's crazy about him is that he was sick, very terminally, from what I believe, and his Black Star album, his last album that he released, it was either released like shortly, like a week before his death, or like very posthumously after, like 1 week after he died. He was recording that album when he was sick, and he didn't tell anybody that he was sick. And I don't know if you guys are David Bowie fans. I have that album and I've listened to it. It's weird, and you can just hear in the music something's off, like something's not right, and it's very somber and it's very down, and it turns out
Lazarus.
Yeah, that's on the album. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's called Black Star, but Lazarus was one of the tracks.
Lazarus is one of the tracks, yeah. And of course, you guys know the story of Lazarus, right?
Kind of.
No, not really. Yeah, maybe a bit.
Is it like rising from the dead or something?
Rising from the dead, yeah. Yeah, basically.
And then pulling a stone away.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Lazarus of Bethany.
Like a Bible story, or?
Yes, it's a Bible story. Absolutely, he was dead for 4 days, and
Yeah, but like Jesus who pushed away this rock and then it flies
that's
to
right.
up.
Yeah,
I mean, or walked on water.
Jesus restored him to life 4 days after his death, apparently.
It kind of entered like pop culture. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, people use it as a term,
that's right. That's right.
just without really knowing what it actually means.
Apparently, it's used quite often in science and popular culture in reference to restoration of life. For example, the scientific term Lazarus taxon denotes organisms that reappear in the fossil record after a period of apparent extinction. So, yeah,
In here,
Lazarus syndrome, Lazarus sign. It's all.
because in here they also use that word Lazarus as if people are drunk as fuck.
Really?
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's true.
I think Marilyn Manson has used Lazarus quite a few in one of his songs.
That's not surprising.
No.
So a distinct character of the same name is also mentioned in the Gospel of Luke in Jesus' parable of the rich man and Lazarus, in which both eponymous characters die and the former begs for the latter to be resurrected. So yeah, it's a Bible story. We should talk to Borky about it. He'll know.
Yeah, he'll definitely know.
Yeah, he'll know for sure. Anyway, boys, we've been talking for over an hour.
Yeah, time flies, man.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
How was it, Frans? Good to hear you back. How was it?
Yeah, it was great, man. Great
Yeah.
catching up with you guys.
Yeah, fucking
Always
right,
fun.
man.
Yeah, it was
And,
about time also.
I know we've stayed in touch since the falling out of the
Oh, of
Fatcast,
course.
whatever.
Behind the scenes, we
would touch behind the scenes, and I tried to make a habit or make a point of keeping in touch with you, because whatever. But to have you back on a show, one show, our show, going forward, the show, whatever, that's pretty cool, man. So it's good to hear your voice again. I know you're going to be in the States coming up sometime soon. I kind of wish you were a little bit closer because I'd come down and see you, but I think you're on the other side of the country, so it's quite a far drive.
Well, one day we will meet, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And if it's in the real life or in hell, I don't know, but
Yeah. And then, of course, Wasted. It's always a pleasure having you, Wasted. I enjoy the show with you. I enjoy doing the show with you, and it's a lot of fun every week. And you bring your unique style and vernacular and stories. So I do appreciate it. So once again, Frans, what's your new website? Plug it for sure.
it's GNFNR with 3 R's.
.com.
Yes.
Perfect.
People
And
will
what's
find
on
out.
it? What's on it?
Well, there's a bootleg guide which I'm building, describing the bootlegs, and there's basically also a forum where we can share bootleg links and stuff and downloads, and it's just mainly for discussion about bootlegs, nothing other shit like fatness or jokes or stuff, just pure bootlegs,
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. I went on. I think we were on the Discord server today, and somebody had mentioned it, put a link to it. I went on it today. It looks pretty good. Looks. I started playing a show, actually, I think, so it was pretty cool to see that. So I'm excited for that. Excited for you. And Wasted, your show. Where can we find you?
Yeah. It's on Rumble. It's called The Wasted Show. Borky and Magatron, contribute episodes to that as well. So it's not just me. And there's a new episode out, Shock and Awe, Natural Born Killers. And there's a new episode from Borky about the goddess of feminist.
That's right. I saw that today. Yeah. I haven't listened to it yet. I saw that it was a new episode out with Borky, so I will. I'll give it a listen. So head over to Rumble, look for the Wasted Show, hit like and subscribe. Wasted Show is always fun. As for me, I'm still talking to the guys from the Cookout. We're gonna do another show. I don't know when. Summertime is busy for everybody, so look for the channel. I'm getting everything organized on the channel. I'm getting it set up. We'll have all the shows under that one banner, and every show is going to have their own kind of station under that banner. I'm getting it done now. It's a large process. But yeah, hit like and subscribe, please. Tell your friends and leave a comment, because that's what we're going for. You can find us anywhere too. I've put my fucking station on everything. Let's see, we're on Spotify, we are on Apple, we are on Google, we are on Amazon, we're on Castbox. For people in Canada, I don't know if this is anywhere else in the world, but for people in Canada, we're on iHeartRadio. I think that's it. If I'm missing any, I'm sorry, but yeah, look for us. We're there, and it's always a pleasure having you guys on. And yeah, hit like and subscribe, like I said, and we'll call it a day. All right, boys. Thanks.
Peace. I've always wanted to say that.